I'm standing in for Jim. And
I will call roll.
call roll.
Board Member Reister.
Present.
Board Member Springer.
Here.
Board Member Cease.
Here.
Board Member Wakeman.
Here.
Board Member DeVoe.
Here.
Board Member Davis.
Here.
And Board Members Doyle, DeVore, and Reagan are all absent.
Do we need a motion to accept their absence?
So moved. Second. Rita.
Do you have to go through the,
You can do it all. You can do a voice vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And now approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I move to approve.
Julie, approve? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, treasurer report.
Our current balance is $524,404. All the revenues are in for this fiscal year. We'll be starting our new budget on July 1. I will be receiving a request shortly for the marketing and the summer concerts from Liz. That will come out of this budget year.
Okay, anybody, any comments? Can I get a motion?
So moved, Rita.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Do we have any public comments? Not on the agenda? Let's see if they're here. Anybody? No additions? Okay. Old business, holiday lights?
Yeah, so at our last meeting, we were asked to get some follow-up. I was hoping Liz would be here because she talked to the individual. But I did get a number of pictures that I can show you. I believe these are of Sparta, Woodland Mall, and there's a private dentist somewhere. But I was going to just kind of start and show you some of the pictures. And once they come up.
That must be a nighttime vision.
Yeah. Now it's daytime. There we go. This one's a little blurry, but I can kind of just scroll through them a little bit, and I think this might be an apartment complex they did. This looks like downtown Sparta.
Are these divided up by company?
No, this is that one company that we were looking at.
Okay.
This is Woodland Mall. this is someone's house, and it looks like maybe, I think I know where this is. So yeah, that's all the pictures, so I know we had trouble, we wanted to see pictures last time, so I was able to get quite a few. It sounds like the way it works, it looks like that, you know, because I remember the question was, the last time was, with the leasing was, what happened, you know, we pay for them for 3 years and then we have to do a new lease. And it sounds like we own them, but then usually what happens is after about year 4 is when they start replacing some of the lights. And they said that some of their larger companies even pay full leases make full lease payments at years 4 and 5. I had the email attached that they sent Liz back. It looks like for year 1, the total cost is $8,043 if we went to do this. This is really confusing. I guess my question is this something we want to do in addition to the lights that we're already going to have, or are you just happy with doing the lights that we currently have? Because we've already had an agreement. We've approved the one company. This is a separate company to do these. Do we even want? I mean, are we concerned this might be overkill with all these lights because we're going to have them on the poles like we always do? I don't know where else we're going to be able to put these lights, or where they're going to put them.
Other than on the trees.
Right on the trees. Yeah.
So this, I guess I'm really confused.
I am very confused by
Because
this.
we have, what are the, so we have one price and then this is an additional?
This is additional. We've already approved.
8,000 additional
Yeah,
dollars?
the first one I believe we approved. We approved back in April.
It was like 5,032.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
I remember.
That's for the Kenmar.
Yeah, that's for the same company, same thing you've always done.
Okay.
And then this would be an additional $8,000.
Holy
to do.
smokes.
Well,
Yeah,
I think Brian was suggesting to add on, not
right,
necessarily overkill.
right.
That's probably overkill.
Oh, I don't disagree
I
with
mean,
you.
it would be spectacular, but I
Yeah.
don't think this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
I would agree.
How
I think maybe he was looking at 8,000 total.
Yeah, I think from what we showed Brian this, and Brian was fine with us just doing this 8,000 and not doing the other one, which I guess you could back out of that if you wanted to, because we've signed the paperwork and sent it back, but you could, in essence,
I think these are just for downtown.
yeah,
Okay, so this doesn't cover the entire DDA all the way down to me.
no,
This is just the downtown
Correct.
business district.
correct, which is what we've always done.
Sure.
I
So,
mean, it'd be
So
fun to
it's- I
upgrade
guess-
it just
yeah.
a tiny bit, but not,
I mean, you're really looking at 13,000 when you're all said and
Right.
done, unless you're saying you want to just do the 8,000 and not the 3,000,
I guess what I was,
or 5,000.
I guess the reason I was asking that was, it would be one thing if we were gonna expand the area that's gonna get lights.
Right, and
I
that,
mean, you could argue whether or not that's needed too, but to like just have more lights in a
Yeah.
concentrated area.
my concern is that it might look like Rochester. If any of you are familiar with downtown Rochester, they put lights on everything at Christmas.
you can see it from Mars.
You can see it from miles.
The company that we're using, the 5,000, could they not just add a little bit?
I don't know if Liz asked her that. That's a good question. I could ask them if they could do a little bit more.
I think that's what Brian was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to a new, different look. Overkill is overkill. I don't mind more lights, of course, but we are sort of known for Christmas through Lowell. and,
Right.
You know, would be a nice upgrade. I want to also at least mention that at some point coming up, we're going to have music down the Riverwalk.
Well, we have it now. It's a matter of the person finishing the work.
You got to get him to do that.
Yeah, I know.
So once we have that, we could decorate the Riverwalk a little more too.
You could. You could. You could.
How difficult would it be to transition from the $5,000 bid to this one?
It wouldn't be
Because
difficult. It wouldn't be difficult.
The pictures that you showed were of the 8,000, that was Woodland Mall is part of that. Because woodlands are tasteful and gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think they probably pay more than $8,000 at Woodland.
Oh, sure,
they
but
do.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I
mean, they do
get
a beautiful job. So,
You know, from a budget standpoint, it wouldn't really be an issue because, you know, you're getting, we're going to talk about another issue, but with with the Amity project coming in as low as it did and the brick project coming in as low as it did, it's freed up money to do other things. So that's really not, in my opinion, an issue.
So we could spend money
You
if
could.
we chose to do so. And if we found the areas where we'd like to see that
Mhm.
expansion, so it doesn't look like overkill, it just looks like it's more spread out,
Yeah,
it really would make Lowell shine more.
I would agree.
that's true.
So maybe the best solution right now is to go back to our original company. And maybe Liz did it, and unfortunately she's not here, because
Right.
Liz usually handles this for me.
She's a busy girl.
Yeah, and, but, you know, I could go back to them and say, you know, could you do a little bit more, and, you know, we'll pay you for it,
Mhm.
and then just come back to you.
And the $5,000 is not a contract, correct?
Yes, it's a 3-year agreement we've already agreed to,
Oh,
but it's an option to renew annually in that 3 years.
gotcha. Oh, okay.
Well, it would seem to me, well, of course, I can't speak for the company, but it would seem to me that if they could do half again as much and get us up to around 8,000 to 10,000
Right,
with the company that we've used before, that would probably be, in my opinion, the best way.
okay. Yeah, we can, I'll have Liz investigate that.
I think from my perspective, it would be really helpful too to see, like if we had some kind of aerial, I mean, even if it was a very rough sketch of what we're talking about,
I'll see if I can do that.
that would be,
I don't know how they plan that, because it's, you know, like I said, it's a private company, but I can ask them.
So if we had an aerial map that showed what they are planning on doing for $5,000, and then we could look and see where we could expand to, then we could
Okay.
maybe get a price on that
Okay.
from them or the other company.
Okay, that'll.
yeah, I think that.
Yeah, I know the other the company that we were dealing with, they were kind of adamant, they're getting close to where they got to order their lights, but I kind of think that maybe this is, if we were to look at this company, maybe you look at them next year, because I don't want to hold him up, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But it's something that we can always come back and revisit, but with them. But in the meantime, if we can do something more with our current company, that makes sense to me as well.
If by chance they say they can, I would hold on a bit if we could add.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't add. I would just say we can revisit this next year. I think we just deal with Christmas this year with whatever we have and just revisit it next year. So does that work for everyone?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, no action?
No.
Okay. New business, downtown restrooms.
Okay. As part of the Showboat project, there were plans to construct downtown restrooms across from the Showboat. We originally went out for bids for this project. The architect designed bid specs, and the low bid originally came in at approximately $367,000 to build a women's and men's restroom that was ADA compliant. At the same time, I asked our architect if he believed this could be value engineered, and he said he did not believe so. I also did not believe we had the proceeds at the time to build the restrooms from the Showboat fundraising campaign. At the time, we received only bids from Orion Construction and Wolverine Building Group, both of which are design-build firms. So, just to kind of explain what design-build is, they do their, Rick knows this, but when you contract with these design-build firms, they start all the way from the architecture all the way through the construction, and sometimes it's a value added savings to the project because and there's more coordination because it's all in the same company, where a lot of times when you'll have an architect design all your specs for your project, you'll have the engineers with probably a separate company do all the engineering specs, and then Then a general contractor gets selected through the bidding process, and then they're dealing with separate architectural and engineering firms, which tends to sometimes cause delay
And change fees.
and change fees and all that, and all those great things because they didn't understand what the specs were. So this is so knowing that they were both design build firms, I went back to both of them and requested if there were ways to construct a restroom and allow for future renovations of that facility that are surrounding it, whether it was cheaper than what was originally proposed. And both firms said yes, there were. So after that, I didn't involve the architect anymore, and I went directly to the firms because I knew they could handle it in-house. So I told them at the time each to provide an estimate to build a durable municipal bathroom with no high-end adornments and see how low they could get their prices, in essence. The parameters were basically that the improvements will allow for the future expansion and to sustain long-term usage as a municipal restroom. A municipal restroom, they're not very flashy, but they need to be durable because a lot of people use them and a lot of crazy things happen. So that was a concern. So about a month later, this was at beginning of May of when I approached them. So beginning of June, I received revised bids from both firms. The quotes are the following. Wolverine Building Group is $251,721.80, and Orion Construction is $255,325. So they're both almost equal. So I met with both contractors, and they, for the most part, designed the restroom specific to the original bid specifications. The savings came from concrete and furnishings. The original plan called for the concrete floor in the restrooms to be removed completely so the plumbing could be replaced. Both firms provided estimates that cut trenches around where the underground plumbing and drainage were necessary, and then they would just put concrete and epoxy over. Actually, they would epoxy the whole floor in the restroom. So this reduced our cost significantly. Also, the furnishings went from, let's just say, a Cadillac style of furnishings to the Chevrolet style of furnishings, is what both companies said to me when I met with them. And these are really the areas where you had your savings. And if selected, both firms can begin work in July. Rest of my memos. Do you have my rest of my memo? Because she sent it.
No.
That's all that was attached.
Oh, there was more.
Let me go get it.
No, I got it. I can pull it up right here.
Apologize about that, I didn't realize it was two-sided.
So to clarify, this is not Showboat specific. This
No,
is down.
these are downtown community restrooms,
All right.
And they'll be open all year round.
all year round.
Yay.
To the public, not?
Yes.
Okay.
And the public can use them if the showboat's having an event. I mean, they're public restrooms.
Just, okay.
Now, they are going to be located,
In the old DPW building.
okay,
And we're still gonna have the DPW operate out of that building for the time being,
okay.
because there's two areas that are planned down the road, and we don't have funds for that right now, and it's gonna allow the DPW to stay there, because we're gonna have to move a lot of their stuff over to another location, and that's gonna create another issue for us. So, we're gonna be able to keep the DPW building, what the DPW uses, they're still gonna be able to use that. The rest of the memo. So, the next question is how are we going to pay for this? Because we were getting relatively short with the funds, especially at $367,000. That just wasn't possible. So I was able to review with Liz the revenues and expenses currently for the showboat. When the boat is complete, there will be approximately $182,000 for the showboat, with an additional $41,000 pledged. Their plan was to build up their budget was to build restrooms. And their plan also was to have a contingency fund of about $100,000, basically for future capital expenses, but in the beginning, they're going to be using that to start their operation. So we figured out how we could pay for this, and I think there's a couple of different ways we can do it. What I would propose would be $100,000 from the showboat proceeds, $75,000 from the Downtown Development Authority, and then the remaining $76,721 from the funds received that the city's going to receive for the American Recovery Plan. One of the categories we can use the funds for is public health, and being that a bathroom is public health, it qualifies. So we can use a portion of our proceeds that we're estimated to receive about $411,000 for the city, but that is subject to change because the state of Michigan's dealing with it, playing with the money right now, so I don't know what that'll be. But we can but this will allow us to do that in my opinion.
Mike, would you, I hate to interrupt
No.
you, but could you repeat the allocation
Yep.
of the funds one more time?
$100,000 from the showboat fundraising,
Okay.
$75,000 from the DDA, the remaining $76,721 from the funds the city will receive from the American Recovery Plan.
Okay. Thank you.
So the Downtown Development Authority originally budgeted in the upcoming fiscal year $184,000 for the Amity Street project. Your estimated project cost was awarded at $103,000. $25,000 was budgeted for the Riverwalk brick project. Our bid came in at just over $10,000. So we have approximately $96,000 freed up in the upcoming budget to complete this. So I would argue that the restrooms are a necessity for downtown, and they can be used for many years, and I think they would be a benefit to everyone. And I'm recommending the Downtown Development Authority approve $75,000 to be used for the restrooms.
And so the city's willing to earmark the first 77,000 from,
We would take the $76,000 of it that we received, we would set that for this. I mean, it's all accounting, but I mean, we probably won't get the money for another 2 months, which is fine, but we have $1 million fund reserve, so the city's gonna be able to function and be able to do this, just right now and then backfill it later.
I like your proposal. I like the fact that the showboat's got skin in the game on this.
Yes.
It's not just the city, and it's not just the recovery thing, so
Yeah,
I think it's a good,
this was a project I wasn't so sure about before, probably when we first received the funds, but it made more sense as time evolved. What our plan with the total funds, our total plan is we can free up police payroll expenditures, which then would allow us to purchase police cars and our share of a fire truck we have to purchase this year. That's going to be a large chunk of this, and maybe instead of buying 4 police cars with it, we buy 3. That's fine. That's not a big deal. And then we also have money set aside if we have to reimburse property. If we have to reimburse property owners, it's probably going to come from the DDA if there are any chargebacks because people are appealing their taxes. My guess is if that happens, it would come out of the DDA, but we would just backfill the money with that. So if that even happens, we haven't had anything at tribunal right now, so it may never even happen. But I think this is it's not a very exciting way to use those funds, but I think they're responsible.
The city will take care of the upkeep and...
Yeah, we'll take care of it, just like we take care of it. We take care of the other municipal bathrooms. It wouldn't be any
But
different.
we've been fighting for probably 10 plus years for public bathrooms.
Yeah. I know.
Well needed.
Yeah.
How big, how large are these bathrooms? I didn't,
Ooh, I didn't bring the plans up for me, I apologize.
oh, that's okay. They're not,
I assume they're roomy enough.
Yeah, oh yeah, they are. They're there'll be an ADA compliant stall, so.
but I just didn't, I was wondering how many stalls, like 2, 4, 6?
You remember?
It goes four in the ladies and two in the guys.
I think yeah, that sounds
Okay.
about right.
So just a moderate,
Correct.
okay.
But of the stalls, one in each is ADA compliant.
Right.
Yep.
So we're good there, we need a motion? Anybody?
I'll move that we go forward with this.
I'll second it.
Motion for up to 75,000 or the 75,000?
I would approve 75,000.
75,000. And do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, it's second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is this a roll
Motion
vote?
carried.
This probably, well, no, it's a voice vote, you can get away with that.
Okay.
Oh, good, motion carried. Now we just reports from the members, anybody?
I don't really have anything.
Well, did we decide on which company
For the,
for the bathrooms?
my recommendation will be Wolverine.
Okay,
They're
I was gonna
yeah.
say because that's who's.
They're the low bid, and one of their subcontractors, Progressive, who does all of our HVAC work already
Okay,
for the city. It makes sense to go with
I agree.
Wolverine. And quite honestly, I think they did a phenomenal job on the show, so.
Well, yeah, and they've been here.
Yeah.
So.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second? All in favor? Aye.